My name is Jessie Moore. My pen name is Lynne Moore, aka Mistress Mina on Wattpad. I will be 52 years old this week. I am a mother, grandmother, homeschool teacher, and a poet. My love for poetry began before I was even born. My mother read poetry to me from the time I was an infant, and it was her that inspired me to be a poet. She writes a bit of poetry herself, but she has always loved poetry and instilled that love of poetry in me. I have been writing poetry for about 30 years now. I started in my late teens and put my pen down when I married and started a family. I started writing again a few years ago. I had always dreamed of having a published poetry book, and I decided it was time that I needed to fulfill that dream. I picked up my pen and began writing. I found Wattpad through a family friend and was instantly fell in love. Poetry is all about inspiration, being inspired, seeing inspiration, finding inspiration, inspiring others. I, of course, was inspired by many people, my mother being the first. However, I love the poetry of Emily Dickinson. I love Pablo Neruda, and probably my favorite has been Rudyard Kipling. All of his works are just amazing, and I cannot imagine a world without his words. One of the most important things to do when writing poetry is setting goals. You need to have a way to track your project progress. You need to decide to write a poem a week, a poem a day, a poem a month, something. Give yourself a goal and just go for it. It doesn't matter what you write about. It doesn't matter how good the poetry is. Just get it on the page. You need to set some time every day. You need to make the time. A lot of people say, I'm so busy. Well, I understand you're busy. I am too. But you make the time. You just decide that this is important enough to make the time to write. And once you have set those goals, once you get into the groove of it, you will crave that time. You will long for that time to be able to get your words on the paper. I found the Poets Pub on Wattpad. We're a group for poets, and we have about 6,000 members. I quickly joined in to every challenge, to every contest they had, and I haven't looked back since. One of the challenges that they put forth was to write a poem a day for a year, which was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, one of the hardest experiences of my life. But by the end of that year, I had over 500 poems to put into a poetry book, which I did. And I now have a poetry book published on Amazon titled Cashmere Illusions, The Musings of a Lady Poet. And I am so thrilled to be able to share some of my thoughts on poetry with you today. There are many tools out there that can help you with your writing. I use several apps that help me with my writing. One of them is RhymeZone, the other is Poet's Assistant. And I find that using RhymeZone and the Poet's Assistant, which has a thesaurus, gives you a quick tool to find one word that'll lead you to another word. And eventually you will stumble on a way to say whatever it is that you're trying to get out. And that is such a huge help when you get blocked, when you feel like you can't figure out how to get it on the page. Inspiration will strike you as you look up more words and find more words. Poetry is, I believe, a universal language. It is a way to show people your feelings. It is a way to put your feelings down into words that no other genre of art can do. I think that it's important to find people to share your passion with as well. Like I mentioned, I found Wattpad and I became an integral member of the group. I help run the group now, and I have so many friends that help me with my poetry, that give me good, honest opinions on my poetry. And I think that's so important, to get good criticism. You don't want somebody to just tell you that it's bad. They want you need somebody to tell you why it doesn't work and why it does work. Both is very important. And there's so many groups. Whether you go to Wattpad, whether you go to Facebook, it doesn't matter. The internet has afforded us a worldwide community for poetry and for writing. And there are so many groups out there. Find one that fits you. Try them all. Try a few. Find a group that fits you and then join in. Make sure that you join in. Join in with whatever groups they have, group activities that they have. There are so many out there that will help you, and it is so important to have some support in your writing. Just know that if you will go ahead and continue with the process, you will eventually achieve your goals. I did. And it just took tenacity and it took determination to keep going. You will find your voice. I know I had no idea how to find my voice in the beginning, but eventually I knew that writing about redemption and forgiveness and overcoming obstacles in your life was where it was at for me. And that's what I mostly write about now. But that doesn't have to be for you. You can write about anything. Remember that poetry can be about anything. It just needs to come from your heart. It needs to be you. You need to put a part of yourself on every page. And if you do, you will not be sorry. So I hope that you have found some inspiration in my words, and I will be out there in the universe with my poetry, looking to come across your poetry one day. So thank you for listening, and thank you for joining me, and happy writing.